Zombie apocalypse.
How's it going, everybody? This is Top of Drabo. Hope you're having another great day, and welcome back to another video. Alright folks, I'm very excited for this month because on this month, 63 years ago, the very first video game in history was ever released in the name of Pong. Well, to celebrate it, all of my content this month will be entirely about video gaming. It is called Gamer Month. And for this month, everything I'll be talking about will be specifically about video gaming and the video game community itself, whether it's retro gaming, video game collecting, my thoughts on what's going on in the video game world today. As somebody that's only just starting to get integrated into the video game community, I'm very excited to talk about video games this month. It's going to be a great month, and so for all of the gamers that have watched all my videos so far on this channel, I hope you enjoy what I got. And to kick things off, is another edition of Haulin Games, where in this series I talk about all the pickups that I got for each and every month. And for this one, I'll be talking about all the video games that I got for the month of September of 2021. And we're not going to waste any time. Let's just go ahead and get right into it. So we're just going to start right away with our PS1 games, and we're going to start with all of our sports games. Again, they're mostly racing games, however, it's not really matter that much anyways. So the very first one that I got here is called NASCAR Heat. This was released back in 2000 and was widely seen as the early challenger to EA Sports NASCAR, and now the company that created this game obviously has the entire NASCAR video game licensing to itself, and so early origins of NASCAR Heat, the current franchise that's making video games. So happy to have this one. Next one that I got here is called Andretti Racing. This is an interesting one because this focuses on the life of the Andretti Racing family through two series, NASCAR and Kart, which obviously is now IndyCar. It was called Kart back in the 90s, obviously, when the IRL and the Kart series were still integrated as one. Really interesting game, not much to say about it, however, and so I will definitely play it a little bit more in the near future. Then we have Jarrett and Wabani Stock Car Racing. Now, this is a real interesting one because although it says stock car racing, these cars are definitely not stock cars. These are more like GT cars all the way from like Europe or something like that, and more importantly, for those that know the Jarrett and Wabani families, obviously Dale and Bobby are the ones getting all the headlines voluntarily. These were two no-name drivers like Jason Jarrett and Justin Wabani, who didn't really do that much during their time in NASCAR, so I felt like this game was rather weird in some sense. However, definitely an interesting one, and I felt like I needed to get this one, especially since I've heard about it quite a bit. Next game we got here is called All-Star Racing. Now, this has 4 series in one, however, I think this is probably one of the most generic racing games that I've ever bought, and along with the next one that I got here, just simply titled Racing. I can't really say either of them are that good. In fact, you know, the controls are really hard, and more importantly, the graphics are a little cruddy, but you know what? I have both of these games, so why not? I'll definitely play them, but you know, I'm already not liking them too much. I mean, they're just generic in a sense. So next one I got here is IHRA Drag Racing. This is based off of the motorsport based on drag racing, the International Hot Rod Association, released back in 2000. This is another game that was really interesting because it's unlike in other series where it's mostly just racing on ovals and road courses. This is basically just racing on a drag strip. So then I have myself a couple of bike racing games here on this list. The first one is Superbike 2000. This is based off of the 2000 World Superbike Championship, and then the next one I got is called Supercross 2000. This one was based off of the 1999 or 2000 Supercross Championship. I can't really remember which one, but this was an interesting time when EA Sports was venturing into other forms of auto racing other than NASCAR. So however, they didn't make many more games on this after that, so I can see why they weren't too much of a success, but hey, it's definitely an interesting venue that they went into. And one more bike game to this list. This is Motocross Mania. Just like Supercross 2000, this is mainly dirt bike racing. However, this is more in motocross field than in Supercross, and it's not really that good. However, I am interested in this one, so definitely will be something that I will have to get used to a little bit. Next up, we actually have 2 games from the Test Drive franchise. I already have Test Drive 5. Well, next ones that I have here is Test Drive 4. This was released all the way back in 1997, and to follow that up, we have Test Drive 6, which was released after Test Drive 5 in 1999. These two obviously were part of the popular Test Drive franchise during the late 90s and early 2000s, and you know, both of them live up to Test Drive 5's name, and so obviously I'm glad to have the both of them, and if there are definitely any more Test Drive games, I'll definitely look forward to getting those in the near future. Then we have the Porsche Challenge. Now, this is a game that's based on racing Porsches, and probably one of the easiest racing games that I've ever played. You know, I can actually beat the game in in only under an hour, obviously, so this is actually a pretty easy one, and I definitely enjoyed this one. Then we have some truck racing games to go along with this one. The first one is Ford Truck Mania. Now, I do remember having this one, but I don't remember playing it too much. This was based off of racing Ford pickups, and then the next one after that is called Thunder Truck Rally. This one was based off of racing monster trucks across multiple venues, whether it's for terrain, deserts, or something like that. Definitely an interesting one. And the next one that I have after that is called TNN Motorsports Hardcore 4x4. This was around the time that Nashville Network existed, and obviously they were all in on auto racing back in the day, and so they had a couple games that we released based on motorsports, and this was one of them right here. I can't say that I've really enjoyed this one, but Ford Truck Mania is definitely something that I really enjoyed, and Thunder Truck Rally I also enjoyed a little bit as well, so looking forward to playing those games more in the near future. Got a couple more snowmobile racing games here on this menu. This one is Snowcross Championship Racing. This obviously, just like Sled Storm, is based off of racing snowmobiles in multiple areas of snow venues as well. And the same thing goes for the next one called Polaris Snowcross. This is just like Snowcross and Sled Storm, however, this one was more sponsored by Polaris, which has a lot of equipment for home manufacturing along with, various vehicles as well, and snowmobiles is definitely one of them. Haven't played either of them though. I'll definitely get a chance to play them in the near future, and hopefully these are just as good as Sled Storm, because I like Sled Storm. However, these two I really don't know too much about. This next one is a game I've been trying to get for quite a while, and I'm glad I finally have it. This is Smurf Racer. This is based off the popular franchise The Smurfs, and they had a brief racing game back in PS1 days or in early 2001. This was it right here. Really enjoyed this game. I actually completed this entire thing in under a half hour. That's how much I really enjoyed this game, and so definitely fun to get to play some of these characters, and I will definitely be playing this one again in the future. Finally, in the world of action sports is Cool Boarders 2. This one's interesting because this is based off the world of snowboarding. Obviously, we all know skateboarding is the big one in the summer. Well, in the winter, which is coming up too, this is snowboarding. This obviously is one of the big extreme sports. Definitely an interesting one. I did play a little bit of it, and I'm going to be honest with you, it's going to take a little bit to learn, especially since I've almost never played a snowboarding game before, but hey, I definitely enjoy having this one, and I'm definitely looking forward to playing it. That's it with all of our racing and sports games that we have here. Next up, we're going to move into our action, war, and animated, all of those games, stuff like that, and we're going to start out right here with probably another game that I didn't really feel like getting, however, I just felt like, what the heck. This is called Spec Ops Stealth Patrol. This is based off of the Spec Ops franchise, which I recently bought Ranger Relief for the August collection. Again, there isn't really much to say about this, I only bought it just, for the sake of it, and really just to see how good it is, and hopefully I'll play this soon and see how this one goes after I play Ranger Elite. This game, however, I definitely want to get, however, this is World's Scariest Police Chases. This is one of the more interesting games it wrote the PlayStation during its late days. Obviously, for its time, it was definitely a good game, and so I really felt like that I wanted to get this one, and I'm glad that I did, because it was the only one that I saw in a retro game store, and it was a really hard find to get as well. So too was this one. This is the sequel to the Dukes of Hazzard Racing for Home. This is the Dukes of Hazzard Daisy Dukes It Out. Now, I remember last month, obviously, when I recently got one of the Dukes of Hazzard Racing for Home games, it had the wrong disc. This was the one right here. This was actually the game that was inside that case that I had to trade in. So if I was going to get this one, I was obviously going to have to make sure to get the actual case to it as well. So happy to have it, played it already, and I really enjoyed it. It was definitely hard the first time, but I really enjoyed playing this one. Next up here is called Centipede. This is an interesting one because you play as this average everyday person that's trying to save your world from a large swath of insects, especially a massive centipede that all of a sudden comes back to life every 800 years or something like that. Definitely interesting one. I played the first couple levels of it, and I'll definitely try to complete the whole story mode sooner or later. Then we have Eminem's Shell Shock. This is probably one of the more weird games for the PS1, and I heard it isn't that very good, though. It's definitely interesting to play as an Eminem and definitely just go around just trying to stop your own little mini M&Ms from destroying your own factory before you go on vacation or something like that. And from the world of Nicktoons, this is Rocket Power Team Rocket Rescue. This was released in 2001 and probably one of those more games that was more like underrated or something like that. Never really got that much traction. Definitely interesting one. You get to play as all the characters from Rocket Power, a show that I used to watch and love back in the day when it was on Nickelodeon, and definitely gonna be an interesting one. So I'll definitely look forward to getting to play this eventually. Moving right along, we have Casper Friends Around the World. This is based off of the franchise in which the character is Casper, obviously the friendly ghost, and so definitely an interesting one. I do remember having this one as well when I was a kid, and definitely looking forward to playing this one again. So too with the next one. It is called A Bug's Life. This is based off of the film from 1998 called A Bug's Life by Disney. I had its own game, obviously, though it wasn't really as popular as the movie, though it still features the same storyline. So then we go into the world of arcade, starting with battle stations. Not much to say about this one. You're basically on battleships trying to defeat your other opponents just to see if you can try to take their own land and stuff like that. So not much to say about this one. Same thing goes with asteroids. Now this is actually more based off a popular arcade game back in the 1980s where you're in the starship and you try to save your world from the massive asteroid shower that's coming into your planet. So yeah, another interesting one, and definitely something that I felt like I needed to try at some point. And then the final two games were from more popular arcade franchises. The first one is the next Tetris. This was obviously based off the popular Tetris video game. I already have Tetris Worlds. Definitely an interesting one that I'm happy to have, along with the next one, which is Pong: The Next Level. As I mentioned before, Pong was the very first video game that was ever released back in 1958. This was one of the sequels to it, obviously. I got a chance to play a little bit. Definitely the same sort of gameplay as it was, however, a lot more interesting dynamics and stuff like that, and you even have a few weapons up your sleeve that you can use as well. So interesting to have the sequel to one of the original video games there is in this world. And that's going to do it with all the PlayStation 1 games that I have. Now, I was able to get a few PlayStation 2 games as well, however, they were from a very completely different venue that I got from usual. Obviously, up until this point, all my purchases were either from Digital Press or from eBay. This was my very first thrift store finds, and all of these games that I got for the PS2 were only just $2 each. So obviously, those are some good steals that I got here, and they all work, which is also important, but wasn't really much. They're all the same games anyways. Starting off with Madden NFL 2002. I haven't had a Madden game in quite a while, obviously, and it's definitely time that I felt like that I got this one, along with Madden NFL 2003. Marshall Faulk was on the cover of this one, and like I said, same as the first one, it's just repetitive gameplay that I got here, so obviously it just felt like it was time to get some Madden games again. And finally, we have NBA Live 2003. This is based off the popular sport of basketball, and obviously I got this one because, as you know, the Nets, which are now in Brooklyn, they were previously in New Jersey, and they had Jason Kidd as the cover, so hey, felt some nostalgia for when the time the Nets were absolutely in New Jersey, and so I felt like I wanted to get this one, basically because the Nets were on the cover of this one with Jason Kidd. So, and guys, gonna do it with all the finds that I got for the September of 2021, and like I said, it's the beginning of Gamer Month, obviously my rendition of Gamer Month. I'm very excited for all the gaming content that I have planned for you this month. I'm going to talk a lot about, like I said, video game collecting. I'll talk a little about the history of video games, especially retro gaming, some of the popular things, especially hot button topics in video gaming. Really excited for this month of October. I'm hoping to see if I can improve on all these finds as well, obviously. And like I said, if you're a gamer and you really like video game content, I really hope you enjoy what I got in store this month. It's definitely going to be a very exciting month of video game content here on my YouTube channel. Otherwise, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it as usual. As always, if you'd like to see more of my content, be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when my latest video is released. As always, be sure to comment below for future suggestions for all my videos, whether it's blogs, projects, or challenges, even video game content, you name it. Feel free to leave it in the comments below and I'll do my best to make them. And as always, follow me on social media. All the links are in the description below. That's going to do it for this video. Hope you're having another great day, and I hope you enjoy Gamer Month because it's going to be a very exciting one. Until then, I hope to see all of you get another video very soon. So long, everybody.